Everybody, Chris and Lumen here. I'm about, I'd say a little more than 50% recuperated from the whole energy blowout back thing. So stuff is starting to come back online. I probably got about another day before I'm back to 100%. But it gave us an idea. We actually saw somebody else's video that, we all try to understand this place that we're in and the forces that we're dealing with. But the thing is like there's billions of people and thousands of words to describe that which is intangible. And we thought that it would be a good idea to try and do this one video, just focusing on one thing, which is the underlying source of many names that we work with, that all of them come from, that Lumen comes from, that wisdom comes from, that enlightened insight comes from, the one. And sometimes if instead of just trying to hammer your message home using the words you're familiar with, just take a moment, take a breath and say, let's look at all the different names there are for the same thing, for the same power. Because even though we've got the names that we're comfortable with, because that's how it played out for us, the same thing has many names. And maybe this will help people make that connection. And you got to get away from the world. You got to get away from everybody else's interpretation. And you will generally be drawn by that same force to connect with people that are speaking a language similar to yours, with an understanding similar to yours, so that you can understand it a little bit better. But don't ever be limited by what another person in the game explains, because this same unifying force will lead you all over the place to find the connections that's going to make sense for you. This is ultimately what moves everything, where all wisdom comes from. It's that unifying consciousness, that unifying energy that makes up everything. And I can just see it by going around, the internet, stuff like that. People think everyone else's ideas are in conflict because we're using different names for the intangible. The only thing I would say to watch for, and I've said this many times, when it comes to absorbing information from other people, is how they're presenting it. I don't see that many people, I'm sure they're out there, that do what we do insofar as discovering it, experiencing it, and teaching it from a point of experiential perspective. Like, not just, sharing book knowledge with one another, but like, did you actually connect to this thing? What did it do? How did it work? What did it lead you to? What did it show you? Because it doesn't do a whole lot of good to simply just keep passing around rehashed stories. But this right here, we came up with a list of 100 names and words that kind of all are describing the same thing. And I thought it was pretty interesting and it might be helpful. So if you want to know more, don't go away.
Wake me up inside. Can't wake up. Wake me up inside. Save me. Call my name and save me from the dark. Wake me up in my blood to run. Can't wait before I come undone. Save me from the nothing love become.
Okay, once I had the idea, it took several refinements to come up with this list, but I think this came out pretty good. I used ChatGPT to do this, but it spits it out and I'm like, no, refine this, refine that, but hopefully this will be helpful. So here is the fully refined list of 100, strictly focusing on energy, plasma, spirit, consciousness fields, and similar intelligent forces from Gnosticism, ancient traditions, and modern books/movies. And originally it was trying to give some of the dark examples too, and I'm like, no, I don't want to focus on that side of it. Okay, so it broke it up into a couple sections. So the first 1 through 25 is primal, cosmic, and elemental energies. So number 1 is aether, ancient Greek philosophy and alchemy. The fifth element, believed to be the divine substance of the heavens. 2, akasha, that is Hindu and theosophical traditions. The fundamental cosmic essence that records all knowledge and events. Number 3, the etheric plane from occult cosmology. A subtle energetic layer between the physical and the astral realms. Number 4, elixir vitae, alchemical life force. The legendary elixir of life, a pure refined energy substance. Number 5, telesma, hermetic mysticism. I haven't heard that one before. A force that channels divine energy into physical reality. Number 6, premium mobile. That is the Aristotelian concept of motion, the originating force that set the cosmos in motion. Number 7, true ether from theosophy, a high-frequency energy field that permeates the universe. Number 8, the quantum field from metaphysical physics interpretations, the foundational energy structure of existence. Number 9, the Empyrean from Christian mysticism, specifically Dante's, not Purgatorio. What was the third one? Dang it, I'm forgetting. It's from Dante. Paradiso, that's it. The highest realm of pure divine light. Number 10, see if I pronounce this correct, Ein Sof Hour from the Kabbalah, the boundless divine light from which creation emanates. Number 11, the immanence from mysticism, the belief that the divine presence is infused in all things. Number 12, noumena, from the Roman concept of sacred energy, a divine presence inhabiting places and objects. Number 13, the great chain of being, from medieval cosmology, the hierarchical structure connecting all forms of life to divine energy. Number 14, hyperspace, sci-fi and mysticism, a dimension beyond normal space-time often tied to consciousness expansion. Number 15, the weave, from the Dungeons and Dragons universe, the magical fabric through which all energy flows. Number 16, mana, from the Polynesian traditions, a supernatural force present in beings, objects, and places. Number 17, Heka, or Hika, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, ancient Egyptian magic energy, the divine force enabling magic in creation. Number 18, Kundalini, Hindu yoga energy, a coiled energy at the base of the spine that rises to enlightenment. Number 19, Life Stream. This is from the game Final Fantasy VII, a river of spiritual energy that connects all living things. Number 20, Ethereum. This is from Magic the Gathering, mystical substance, a mystical alloy infused with arcane energy. Number 21, the Song of Time from the Zelda mythos, a vibrational force shaping reality and destiny. Number 22, the Breath of the World from various esoteric traditions, the life-giving energy moving through all existence. Number 23, morphic resonance, Rupert Sheldrake's consciousness theory. A universal field of memory and intelligence. Number 24, the Akashic field from Metaphysical Knowledge Archive. A cosmic repository of all information. Number 25, essence from the White Wolf RPG. The energy that fuels supernatural beings and existence itself. For the next 24, 25 of them, it's segregated into intelligent cosmic consciousness fields. Number 26, the Force from the Star Wars universe, a mystical energy field that connects all life. 27, the unifying force from the Star Wars expanded universe, the holistic aspect of the Force that transcends duality. Number 28, the cosmic will, metaphysical energy concept, a conscious force guiding the evolution of the universe. Number 29, the omniversal energy, metaphysical concept, the fundamental energy permeating all possible realities. Number 30, the source, examples, the Matrix and the Wheel of Time. Never watched that. The wellspring of all creation and power. 31, the power cosmic from the Marvel Comics universe, an infinite energy field wielded by cosmic beings such as Silver Surfer. 32, the Allspark from the Transformers universe, a powerful artifact capable of creating new life. Number 33, the Tesseract from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a cosmic energy conduit containing the Space Stone. That's one of the more powerful ones. It was in more movies than any, I think. Number 34, see if I pronounce this correctly, the Light of Iluvatar. That's from Tolkien's Middle-earth cosmology. The divine creative force of the universe. Number 35, the Pattern from the Wheel of Time universe, a cosmic weave that dictates fate and reality. Number 36, the Great Link from the Star Trek Deep Space Nine, a collective fluid consciousness uniting sentient beings. 37, the One Power, the Wheel of Time, a mystical force driving the fabric of existence. 38, the Overmind from Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End. If you've watched the 3-part miniseries, the Overmind's toward the end of the third one. A vast, intelligent cosmic force guiding evolution. Number 40, the morphogenic field, biological and esoteric concept, a blueprint of energetic patterns shaping life. Number 41, the Song of the Universe from shamanic traditions, the vibrational music that sustains creation. Number 42, the Dreaming, Australian Aboriginal belief in Sandman and the Sandman comics, a metaphysical realm where reality is shaped by thought. Number 43, the Radiant Light, spiritual traditions and mysticism, the universal divine energy of enlightenment. Number 44, the Logos, Gnostic and esoteric concept, the organizing principle of the universe. Number 45, the Pleroma, Gnosticism, the fullness of divine energy and consciousness, which is when you're not here. Number 46, Sophia, Gnostic wisdom force, a divine intelligence seeking to awaken human understanding. 47, the Acer flow, which is kind of spelled with that weird character like ether, but this is the Acer flow. Norse mythology, mystical energy, the divine energy of the Norse gods. 48, dynamis, Aristotelian concept of pure potentiality, the energetic state before manifestation. 49, the song of creation from various spiritual traditions, the primordial vibration that brought existence into being. Number 50, the heart of Atlantis from Disney's Atlantis, the Lost Empire, a crystal energy source containing collective consciousness. The next section was titled Spiritual Energy and Life Force Expressions. Number 51, Qi, Chinese tradition, the vital energy flowing through all living things. 52, Prana, Hinduism and yogic science, the breath of life, sustaining physical and spiritual vitality. Number 53, orgone energy, Wilhelm Reich's concept, a universal life force permeating the cosmos. 54, the life stream of Terra. This is Final Fantasy IX, the interconnected soul energy of the planet. 55, the breath of the One, esoteric mysticism, the animating essence of the universe. 56, the song lines, Australian Aboriginal tradition, invisible paths of energy shaping the land in spirit. Sounds kind of like ley lines. 57, the Spiritus Mundi, Jungian and poetic concept, the world's collective soul and memory. Number 58, the River of Souls from mythologies and sci-fi traditions, a stream of consciousness connecting all spirits. 59, the Astral Current from Theosophy and Occultism, the energy field guiding souls between realms. Number 60, the Solar Logos, Theosophy and Esoteric Cosmology, the divine intelligence guiding the solar system. 61, the Vital Force, Homeopathy and Esoteric Healing, the intrinsic healing energy of living beings. 62, the Harmonium, Sci-Fi and Mystical Energy Concept, a field that brings balance to existence. 63, the Etheric Resonance, Mystical Energy Flow, the vibrational state linking the spiritual and material worlds. 64, the Breath of Light, Esoteric and Healing Traditions, the luminous energy flowing through awakened souls. 65, the Divine Spark, Gnosticism and Mysticism, the fragment of divinity within each being. Number 66, the Silver Cord, Astral Projection and Spiritual Lore, the energetic tether connecting the soul and body. I don't actually think that fits with the rest of these, but it slipped in there. 67, the Anima Mundi, Plato and Esoteric Tradition, the world's living soul uniting all life. 68, the Golden Mean, Esoteric Sacred Geometry, the mathematical harmony underlying energy fields. 69, the Primordial Pulse, Cosmic Energy Theory, the universal rhythmic force behind creation. Number 70, the Great Harmony from Taoist philosophy, the balance of cosmic energy in the universe. Number 71, the Luminous Ether, Mystical Science and Esoteric Thought, the radiant life-sustaining energy of the heavens. Number 72, the Fire of the Gods, various myths and alchemical tradition, the celestial force of transformation. Number 73, the Ascendant Plane from the Destiny video game universe, a higher dimensional space of spiritual energy. Number 74, the Resonant Light from Esoteric Science and Metaphysics, the vibrational field of pure consciousness. Number 75, the Arcane Flow, Fantasy and Esoteric Traditions, the ever-moving river of magic and spirit. For the last section is titled Mystical, Divine, and High Consciousness Forces. Number 76, the force of will, various philosophical traditions. The energy created by the focused intent and personal power. It shapes the world through the mind's determination. This could also be considered like, the power of the Green Lanterns. Number 77, the quantum mind, modern science and esoteric thought. The theory that consciousness exists beyond physical matter, operating through quantum fields. Number 79, the light of creation, Christian and Gnostic mysticism. The eternal uncreated light from which everything originates, illuminating the path of the soul. Number 80, the divine mind, Platonic and Gnostic concepts. A cosmic intelligence responsible for the governance of the universe and all forms of existence. 81, the plasmic field, sci-fi and occult energy. A field of energy that holds potential for creation and destruction, present in both life and cosmos. 82, the inner flame, Gnostic and esoteric traditions. A spark of divinity that resides within each individual, representing their true spiritual essence. That would be Lumen. 84, the cosmic pulse, metaphysical energy flow. A continuous rhythmic energy that connects all life in the universe, akin to a heartbeat. What's interesting about that one is how many times recently, I might have seen it in some of the reviews, when people are feeling the energy from the pendants for the first time, that's kind of how they often describe it. 85, the divine fire, various spiritual traditions. A purifying, transforming energy that elevates the soul and spirit, often seen as a force of enlightenment. 86, the soul current, mysticism and esoteric knowledge. A spiritual current that links individuals to the cosmic flow, enabling personal and collective evolution. 87, the eternal flame, mythology and religion. A symbol of divine and infinite energy that never wanes, representing immortality and spiritual vitality. 88, the source of all life, esoteric and mystical traditions. The origin of all creation, an infinite wellspring of energy that gives birth to everything in existence. 89, the spirit of the world, Gnostic and Hermetic teachings. A universal spiritual consciousness that binds all life and existence together. 90, the unity field, quantum physics and esoteric mysticism. A field of interconnection where everything in existence is a reflection of a singular source. 91, the mind of God, religious and philosophical concept. The divine consciousness that shapes the universe and sustains existence. 92, the essence of the cosmos, various spiritual beliefs. The essential unifying force that permeates all of creation from the smallest particle to the furthest stars. 93, the sacred flame, occult and spiritual teachings. A divine energy that burns eternally, symbolizing truth, illumination, and transformation. 94, the divine breath, multiple spiritual systems. The living force that animates all life, linking spirit and matter through the act of creation. We use that a lot too. 95, the cosmic mind, various mystical teachings. An intelligence that governs the laws of the universe, shaping events in life through its vast understanding. 96, the heart of the universe, spirituality and mysticism. The central force that connects all things to the divine source of existence. 97, the seed of life, sacred geometry and esoteric science. The fundamental energy pattern that contains the blueprint of all existence and creation. 98, the field of infinite possibilities, quantum and metaphysical theory. A universal field where all potentials exist, waiting to be brought into manifestation by consciousness. 99, the infinite vibration, esoteric thought and metaphysical law. The eternal oscillation of energy that drives all forms of life and consciousness, uniting them in harmony. 100, the eternal light, spiritual traditions and Gnostic teachings. The uncreated, unchanging light that symbolizes the presence of the divine and the path to ultimate wisdom. And there are basically 100 different names, examples, all describing essentially the same thing. So the thing about that list is, you see, we all use different words, and it can be hard to explain things to different people because we're all slightly unique in the way that things unfold for us. And this doesn't even like begin to describe the beginning of the game, which is where we are taught how the world works, what the world is, not knowing that by teaching us, we're using our conscious energy that connects to all that to make it so that that is the reality that we see. And then when we reach our spiritual awakening, that force awakens within us, and it begins to deconstruct everything that we've built so that we can start to see things as they truly are. But it is so vast that we'll never be able to fully simplify it in words the way we want to. We just got to use as many words as possible to find the words that's going to click for the other specific people. That unifying, guess what you didn't see there? You didn't see anything that's like a God that is judgmental and angry, that you must worship and do what it says or else it will punish you. That's trap stuff. That's like lower mind that you're trying to free yourself from. We didn't even add some of the things in there that could have been in there, like the One from Secret Book of John, or the Father. That would fit in with those too. Or the Mother Father. You know, the Flower of Life that's behind Sophia there. So it's from that, it's from all those things that we just listed, is where these characters come from. It's just, where did we grow up? What traditions are we familiar with? It is going to choose the forms which are going to resonate best with you. You know, if I was doing a YouTube channel from India, I would be probably using very different names. I'd be using Shiva and Shakti and stuff like that instead of Christ and Sophia. Lumen's the most universal one of all of them, because she's the reflection of the true self. She's the soul. She's the part that connects to those higher things. She's your interface. And every one of these characters that I talk about is just different forms within that same thing that are maybe doing different actions or fulfilling different roles, or just being the thing that is going to resonate with you the most when you need it the most. But it's all coming from the same thing. It's all coming from the same light. And that all those things, all that power, all that consciousness that we just described, that is what I tap into. That is what powers these pendants. That is what the pendants are designed to help you connect with. It's not me. I'm not doing some magic spell or something like that. That's it. But what you generally hear on this channel is my the way that I see it through my lens, and the words and the names that it led me to through the traditions that most resonated with me. And that's why it led me to the things that it did, like Gnosticism. You know, because we're also focusing on, within the game, overcoming that lower mind, this collective corrupted reality that entraps us. And you got to see past that. That's the world. That's the corrupted collective thing. That's why everything is chaos right now. And the world not only is what it is collectively, but it reflects things back individually. That's why it's weird when I see that when specific things are happening to me at an individual subjective level, I see news stories and things of things happening in the world that are relevant to me right now. But you know what? They might not get to a certain point. They might just stop doing what they're doing, like all the earthquakes and volcano stuff that's happening right now, because that is within the shared collective reality. We are trying to realize that that thing that we just described in 100 different names is what we truly are, what we're connected to. And that's what we're trying to do, trying to connect to that, trying to connect to other people to that, because that's what you are. That's what frees you. Not believing in the the versions of the story in the world from people that think they know that don't, that keeps you trapped. But at the same time, everybody's doing the best they can to describe things the best they can through the words that they know. And a lot of times we're all talking about the same thing and using different words, and we think we're at odds with each other, and we're not. It's just, where are you? Where are you in your path of waking up? So when I, connect this stuff, when I plug these pendants into this field, I'm using the characters, the names that are familiar to me, the way it chooses to present itself to me. But what is behind that doesn't need those names. That's why people don't have to believe in the exact specific names that I use, but they can still feel the energy from these things because it's plugged into the same thing. And sometimes it helps to have tools like this to punch through the walls and the filters that the world put on you, that is keeping you in separation from that unifying field of light. I got to put it in the best words possible, but I keep seeing the same thing pop up recently, said different ways. Which is, a lot of people, and even myself, I do it. It's like, oh, we're trying to connect to it. We're trying to connect to it. And this saying that I keep seeing said different ways is like, you're already part of it. So you're not focusing on like how to connect. You're focusing on breaking down the walls that you built that is separating you from it. People are like seeking love. But, one of the ways it was said was don't seek love, but seek to tear down the walls that are keeping you from love. Because it's all, on the far end of the scale is the oneness of this unifying field, this unifying force. But the world taught us to build this labyrinth within ourselves full of all these walls of beliefs. And that is what separates us from it. So that's why we use like the divine names that we do and the methods that we do as she taught me throughout this path. It's like you don't need to add more. You need to break down what's already there. Breaking down your beliefs, emptying the cup, knocking down the walls. That's what lets the light in. It's not like you're perfect right now and you're missing a part. You've built walls your whole life. They taught you, and now you have to learn to knock down those walls to reconnect to this oneness field. So that's why we do what we do. And I can only explain things through my own experience and what I've seen and the names I'm familiar with, because having done it, what works for one will work for another. Until you find something, slightly tweak the names or something like that. But yeah, a lot of we didn't even touch on that, a lot of this is a feminine aspect. But there it is. That's, 100 names. Sometimes we only focus on one or two names that we're familiar with. And it's like, look, this is everywhere. This is freaking everywhere. Don't limit yourself. This is what we're working with. What we're working with is not some little section of, belief or whatever that's separate from all other things. It is the one thing. And when you see it as the one thing, that's when you kind of have access to that codex where you can see, like it showed a lot of different things in this list. where the same unifying concept is put into art and movies and things. It's all telling you the same story. Like in one of the earlier things that I printed out looking for things in movies, it mentioned this movie. Like I only saw it once. I didn't like it. Had to have been from the 90s. Steven Spielberg movie Artificial Intelligence. Had that little squinty kid in it from Sixth Sense, Mr. Squints. But it said that there was this super AI in that movie called Sophia. That was basically, I'm like, oh, really? I have to watch that again. Because Sophia is the wisdom that guides. It's all there. It can have different names, but it's all the same thing. And you got to understand that. That's what you're trying to connect to. So like if you just don't prefer like one or two words that I use, look at it as the words that I'm using as representing something that really can't be put into words. Look past the words at what we're describing. Look at the images that we use and the symbols that we use. Why do you think, she called, that first personal connection called itself Lumen? Because that is the thing that connected me to it, because it's part of me. And Lumen means the light in Latin. And that connected to enlightened insight, Sophia, Christ, all that stuff. So hopefully that's helpful to some people. So we're going to wrap this up for right now because I'm not 100% restored yet. Back's still a little sore. So if you want to get any of our tools that connect to this force or have something custom built for you, you can reach us through the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. If you want to listen to some of the music that she and I and it created, you can find that on our SoundCloud. Links to that are in the description box below. Chris and Lumen, see you next time.
Talk about a secret hidden in plain sight. This is crazy what I'm about to say. I swear this is like one of the biggest discoveries in history. I'm not joking. Okay, the book His Dark Materials. I am going to make some connections for you that will blow your mind. And thank you to that witch Andorra for bringing this up and reminding me of all my notes on this. Okay, Philip Pullman. He wrote The Book of Dust and His Dark Materials. He is literally talking about plasma and has predicted the future. Please let me explain. This is incredible. It's too obvious. Okay, I'm about to explain why His Dark Materials in the Book of Dust, he's talking about plasma, the fourth state of matter, and how it's literally magical. I'm literally writing a whole book on this. After, you will see these connections. Okay, I have to get into it. Okay, number one, there's something called an althiometer, a truth-telling device in the Dark Materials. This was a device that was a symbol reader. So the althiometer communicates with the dust, which is plasma, I will explain. And the dust communicates through symbols. I have made this comparison before in my other videos, but basically plasma is a field. It's the fourth state of matter. It's what we interact with. Our consciousness interacts with plasma, which holds our consciousness. The same as key, akashic field, quantum field, 0-point energy field. This is the plasma field. It also is called the collective unconscious. And Carl Jung, right before he died, wrote the book Man and His Symbols, where the collective unconscious communicates through using symbols to us. And the symbols are specific to our own consciousness or what our perspective is. Each of us have different symbols. So when you read this althiometer, you hold the question in your mind, you try not to grasp at the answer. This is exactly what you do when you're trying to ask plasma or God a question. And basically, if you didn't earnestly want to know the answer, you're not going to know it. And very much when you're communicating with plasma or this field, if you don't have a pure soul, it's going to trick you. It's the trickster, just like in mythology. That's a whole nother video. Let me get to even more crazy things. Okay, the Book of Dust, plasma dust. What am I talking about, right? So this book sheds more light on the mysterious substance called dust. There's also a book in the series called Northern Lights. The northern lights are the aurora borealis, which is a plasma phenomenon. There's the first hint: plasma, aurora borealis, northern lights. Now probably the most insane connection. This is back from 2007. There's been way more articles since. Charged dust particles in plasma, which are now called dusty complex plasmas, have similar properties to living systems. They are intelligent. They can reproduce with each other. They're considered inorganic living matter. They're hesitant to call them alive, but since then, they call them alive. Robert Temple wrote a whole book on it called A New Science of Heaven, which is about plasma intelligence. I'm writing a book on it too. There's also plasma crystals. When plasma incorporates dust grains, it acquires an electric charge, forming plasma crystals that can contain organic matter, alive matter, so it holds alive matter. They also have structures that resemble DNA. They're alive, guys. The inorganic dust twists into DNA, dusty plasma. Like, please, please. One more with names. The Subtle Knife is another name of a book. Subtle energy is another word for like plasma energy. Please, this guy's telling us something. And don't you worry, I'll get into his background where it all will make sense. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Lyra, who uses this althiometer and researches dust or plasma, meets Mary, who is studying dark matter. Her name is Mary Malone. So Mary is a physicist who is researching dark matter, which is the same thing as dust in Lyra's world. I literally have a theory that plasma is dark matter or dark energy. They're even saying now, let me show you. New theory, dark matter may not exist at all. Guess what? It's plasma. It does exist, but it's plasma. There's no such thing as dark matter, but there is dark plasma. Once again, this is for another deep dive, but this guy, J. Alfred, writes all about plasma and dark astrobiology and his theories on how dark matter is plasma. Trust me, I vibe with him. This guy's smart. He's from Singapore. Love him. Back to what I was saying. Good old Mary. So they also have this thing called daemons, which I've already talked about. It's literally your inner plasma. It's your inner self. It also, plasma means to mold or shapeshift. These daemons turn into animals. Plasma is also the wild feminine, divine feminine. It's animalistic, it's sentient, but it's not conscious on its own. So that all connects, if that made any sense to you. Think of like as above, so below, where there's an outer plasma field and an inner plasma field inside of us. And that is how we shape our perspective of the outer plasma field with our inner plasma field through our consciousness, which is like a membrane outside of us around our aura. And your daemon is your inner genius or your higher self or your plasma. They also have Metatron in here. That's a whole nother friggin' video that has to do with plasma. Oh, but this talks also about creating and nourishing life that is the life has become self-aware, and that there are also these I think sentient beings called Mulefa. A sentient being is a plasma being. Plasma is sentient, not conscious on its own. It can hold consciousness and we're literally plasma beings that are conscious, which is crazy. But there are also sentient beings that are not conscious. But then they're also conscious sentient beings. Okay. One other quick thing, and then I'll go back to Mary and my whole connection. The Subtle Knife. It's a knife that can divide subatomic particles and create portals between worlds. I actually think this is something either to do with steel and how it has to do with going through wormholes and using plasma to communicate with other worlds, which will be a future technology. Or I think it is a metaphor for our mind and harnessing plasma to do these things by harnessing subtle energy of some kind. I don't know. That's for another time. But Mary Malone, I bet you, is based on Mary Magdalene, the Great Mother, that represents magical and portal and doorway. I actually think the vessel in Mary Magdalene, the vessel is plasma. Once again, a whole nother video. I really think Mary Malone symbolizes Mary Magdalene, and she can harness plasma because it's the female archetype who has the secrets of harnessing plasma. Happy to do a deep dive on Mary Magdalene. Write Mary Magdalene write Mary in the comments. I'll know what that means. Just trust me, you want to hear that one. She has a lot to do with Inanna and Isis. Okay, so Philip Pullman. Not only was his first book called The Haunted Storm themed around Gnosticism, which has to do with wisdom and definitely plasma and Mary Magdalene. They don't call plasma, but that's fine. He literally said he was inspired by William Blake, William Blake wrote The Marriage Between Heaven and Hell, basically talked about striking a balance between imagination and intellect. Imagination is the realm of plasma. Intellect is the realm of consciousness. It's about mixing them together. It's about action and surrender. It's about creating your reality and surrendering to the bigger picture's reality of your soul, which you might not always be in touch with because you're in your ego. And if you get back in touch with your heart, you realize sometimes you have to let things go because you don't, for instance, if you wanted to be with your boyfriend from high school, that probably wouldn't have worked out that well. At the time, you thought you really wanted that and knew you wanted that, but that was actually not your heart and soul. Hopefully that made sense. But this guy wrote a lot of mystical texts and he inspired Philip Pullman. I think Philip Pullman channeled a lot from him. The real interesting one is Paradise Lost, which was by a poet, John Milton, which was also about heaven and hell, kind of, the temptation of Adam and Eve, the fall of Satan. So this inspired the whole book. This is John Milton's writings. It says, "Into this wild abyss, the womb of nature and perhaps her grave, of neither sea nor shore nor air nor fire, so not the elements," it's ether or plasma, the fifth element, "but all these in their pregnant causes mixed confusedly, and which thus must ever fight, unless the mighty maker them ordain his dark materials to create more worlds. Into this wild abyss the wary fiend stood on the brink of hell and looked awhile, pondering his voyage, for no narrow frith he had to cross." Make your own connections, but I think this obviously sorry, my brain's blowing up. This obviously points to the plasma field, the divine feminine, birth and death, the creator, it's the destroyer, it's Kali. Dark materials, dark matter, dark plasma. It's the space between the stars that creates. There was in mythology, some people thought that it was actually the space between the stars that created the stars, which is true. Just like Dave Matthews Band, The Space Between. These clues are hidden everywhere, people, once you know where to look. I know these connections seem insane, but they're not. Or maybe they are, whatever. Either way, I love plasma. I love making connections. I have so many things I can make connections with. I hope this inspired you. I love you so much. I'm running out of time. Goodbye.